Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Sam Gomez. I'm a woodwind doubler in North Florida in the Gainesville area. And I usually talk about um, instruments that are, a good deal, obscure instruments, um, instruments that are kind of slept on, so to say, and Chinese instruments, or cheaper instruments that are actually kind of good. Just stuff to look out for. And today, what I keep looking at over here, um, kind of fell into my lap through a certain set of circumstances, but it's also for sale. But this right here is a Grassi Prestige alto saxophone made by Ida Maria Grassi. Um, I don't know if I'm probably making all of the Italians roll over in their grave right now saying it's pronounced Grassi or however. Um, I'm from Gilchrist County. It's pronounced Grassi. Um, but um, but yeah, so this is a very interesting instrument. So a little bit of a backstory. I myself don't really know a whole lot about Grassi instruments other than the fact that they're Italian and they did some stenciling. So for actually no, I think that was Orsi that did stenciling for Rampone. But anyways, a whole Italian saxophone lore. 9 times out of 10, Italian saxophones aren't super good. Um, the modern Rampone and Kazani saxophones are amazing. Um, I think there's Borgani. I haven't really tried any of them, but I know that there are some people that really like them. I know Joe Lovano, I think for a while played on a Borgani, but this is another one cut from the Italian cloth over where the meatballs are great, and the towers are leaning. But yeah, just talk a bit about this. So, like I said, I don't know a whole lot about these, but what little information my friend the internet could give me. So Grassi, I guess, made instruments from like the 50s up until the early 2000s. And this was the epitome of all of the science and engineering and like all that they could care about put into one saxophone. So there's the professional 2000 models. Those are also pretty okay. There was actually more information on those than on this, but this was, from what I understand, their like last hurrah to like compete with Selmer, oddly enough. And looking at some of the design features, it is very much geared to look like a Selmer. You see right there, that's a G, but it's very much so in the style of the Selmer S. It's got the Mark 6 style bell brace. But other than that, and maybe like the front F. The front F is very reminiscent of a Selmer. But other than that, that's really it that it, copies looking like a Selmer. The engraving is, I guess, maybe a little bit Selmer. It's got kind of like the bottom bow engraving right there, kind of like the Euro 6s do, or the European market Selmers do. But yeah, so I got this horn out of a trade that I was doing with a buddy, and it's very, very good. Up until very recently, I hadn't ever played seen a Grassi, let alone play one. I always thought of Grassis as the ones with like the jade rollers. They're kind of hit and miss, and yeah, just kind of overall like not worth it. I mean, they're okay student horns, I'd imagine, for the money, but this is really, really good. I've seen these go from anywhere from about $700 to $2,000, and I've seen them sell for $2,000 as well. I got this, like I said, I got this one out of a trade, but I'm gonna try and get anywhere from 15 to 2 for it, just because it is really, really nice. It's in really good condition. There's not hardly any lacquer wear, but that's besides the point. I'm trying to sell it local. But anyways, so some really cool features on this horn. I guess we'll talk aesthetics first. I cannot tell if this is gold-plated or not. I don't think it is. I think it's just a very dark yellow brass lacquer. It's very reminiscent of a Yamaha, honestly. The way that this lacquer looks and the way that it feels underneath the fingers. It's very Yamaha-like. Almost, I'd say almost like a mix between like a Yamaha and a Selmer, almost like a modern Selmer. Just the way it feels underneath the fingers. Definitely up in the palm keys, it feels like a Yamaha. Just the way that it's, because the way these pads are looking, I'm gonna take a wild guess that this is the original setup from the factory. So, not bad at all. It pops really well. It has an elongated low C, which is nice. You know, I mean, I've played on much less and been all right with it, but that can be very comfortable. You know, if you've got big hands like myself and slides out all the way over there, that can be really nice. It's got a pearl for the high F sharp, kind of like a Yamaha 61. So, honestly, a very comfortable pearl, depending on where you want to touch it. It's wherever. Teardrop style, forked F sharp. I prefer the pearl, the circular ones. But, I mean, it's to each his own. Trying to think. Oh, it has sculpt. I would almost call that sculpted. I don't know if you guys can see that, but right there. It's barely sculpted. It's almost set up like a Mark 6. This is obviously flat on vintage Selmers up until the Mark 7, I believe. But just a very, very slight raise right there, which is ergonomically very comfortable. I mean, if you're one of those people that catch that, you know, cool on you. But it's a very comfortable thing. Your finger just slides right in there. The big thing on this that I really wanted to talk about, which is really, really cool, that I'm actually used to because I play a Buffet S2, is this here. I'm gonna take this ligature off. Is this pinky table right here? That is a cool freaking pinky table. So this is your low B flat. I don't know if you can see that. This slides very much like a Buffet S1 or an S2. And I guess also the modern Senzos, I think, have that, but I think the Senzos are modeled after S1s. But a really nice touch. And what the others don't have, they don't have this roller right here. The Buffets don't have that roller. That is incredibly comfortable. I really like that a lot. And you can go back and forth between that. That's not like great, but a little bit of like nose grease makes that super slick and is fine. I mean, that needs some work, I guess. But yeah, I think I just need to work on that technique. But overall, I mean, that's a really cool touch. I like that roller. I like the bending low B flat key. That's super comfortable. There we go. Kind of got it. It's just hard to slide. I think I just have big pinkies. But anyways, trying to think of what else. Oh, I think I wanted to start on some aesthetic things, but it's got a very pretty engraving. Very much like, featuring the frogs. Very much like a Yamaha. It's a very gorgeous engraving. Got an engraving down here on the bell. On the bell bow. You have this floral thing, kind of like on the Mark 6s. What I didn't notice up until just about now, there's a G there for Grassi. Overall, aesthetically, a very pleasing horn. It's a very pretty horn to look at. It's got a fake pearl key touch right there for the thumb rest. It's a comfortable thumb rest. I really like this saxophone quite a lot. From what I saw on the internet. Apparently there's like an Italian sound, which, I mean, I'm not very well versed in Italian saxophone playing, so I really wouldn't know what the Italian sound is. I know what the French sound is. I know what the American sound is. I even know what the Japanese sound is, because I've heard quite a lot of Japanese saxophone players, and they do have their own distinct sound. Another thing I like about this horn, it's very versatile. Some horns are very strictly marketed as classical horns, and some horns are very strictly marketed as jazz horns. For example, the Buffet Senzo, very much marketed as a classical horn. Or on the other end of the spectrum, the Eastman 52nd Street, very much marketed as a jazz horn. This is very middle of the road. I've got my classical setup here as well. It's a Russo Classic with a 3.5 and a Van Doren Optimum. I'm not a classical player. I like to fake that I am, but I get away with it for sax choir. But my jazz setup, I have this Barry Woodwind hybrid. I think it's a 7. Yeah, it's a 7. But I'm gonna play a little bit for you. I wish I had more information on these horns. I'm sure there is more information, but really the only thing I was pulling off of was eBay and SaxontheWeb. So I might make like an update video, but super dark horn. Oh, and let's see here before I start. You can tell if it's a Prestige because it will say Prestige right there. And then it says regulate and trademark, made in Italy, all that fun jazz. And then it has a plastic thumb rest. This is interchangeable, so if you wanted to, you could take this off and put like a metal one on there, or one of those that like goes across like that. You know, halfway modular, so pretty cool. But bear with me here. It's 9:20 in the morning. And I have not warmed up yet. I just was like, ooh, I'm going to make this video. Because I've been wanting to make this video for a couple days now. Because I've had this horn for a couple days and I've played it. And it's a really nice horn. That was trash, but good read. I mean, nice sounding horn. Really great sounding horn for the money. I mean, the market is kind of all over the place on these. Just because, I mean, I don't think there are a whole lot of Grassies in the States. I think a majority of them are overseas. primarily in Spain and Italy and, you know, other European nations. So I think Grassies, you know, there aren't maybe a whole lot of them. I've seen a Grassi tenor though. That's about it. This is the second time I've seen a Grassi. But yeah, really great warm sounding horn. Pretty versatile. Here, I'm gonna slap on my classical setup. I'm probably not gonna sound any better. In fact, I'm probably gonna sound a little worse on this, but for 40 bucks, because that's what I spent on this mouthpiece. The ligature was more than the was more than the mouthpiece. I think I paid 50 bucks for this Van Doren Optimum, but oh great, and then it's sliding all over the place. Technical difficulties. So this is a NC4 Rousseau Classic with a Van Doren Optimum and a Van Doren 3.5. Something like that, but oh, I'm not even gonna try and attempt that. But I mean, it can do a lot. It can do a lot. I mean, as you can see, I got a halfway classical sound out of that. I'm not gonna call myself a classical saxophonist because I'm not. Not to mention, I kind of just sound like Cheeks today because I haven't warmed up. But I just wanted to give, I guess it's not a quick overview, but I wanted to show off this horn because I think it falls under the category of cool stuff that my channel is for. It's a pretty obscure horn. There's not a whole lot. I don't actually know how many of these were produced. There's a 5-digit serial number. It's 54,390 on this. I haven't looked at the serial charts, so I don't know how many of these were made. But from my research, I think these were made in like the late 90s, early 2000s. And just a really great horn. So if you see one of these pop up, long story short, buy it. It's a great horn. I'm sure they fix up real nice. This is on the original setup. These are all original pads. And well, the bell keys aren't, but other than that, all original pads. I mean, I think it's a pretty decent horn. Really comfortable, really snappy action. You can have it, you know, adjusted where you like. But all in all, the Grassi Prestige, you know, good horn. I think it passes all of the check marks and it checks all the boxes, so to say. But yeah, this has been the Grassi Prestige alto saxophone. I'm going to try and put out a couple more videos. Oh, crap. I almost forgot. Good gracious. This is the case that you get with it. So this is the stock case. I'm going to try not to get my... There. So, Grassi. Says Grassi right there. Kind of like a fake snake skin. Very, very, very sturdy case. I mean, that's metal right there. Really thick latches. Very thick latches. Sturdy interior. It's felt. I don't know what material that is, but got a thing for the neck right here, and then an accessories area, like any other case. But a very good case. I mean, it's gonna keep the instrument safe, and that is what matters. So, yeah, this has been the Grassi Prestige. And I'm gonna try and post a couple more videos today, so y'all keep out for that. All right, take care. Bye-bye.